On the morning of March 19, 2009, a 35-year-old chef left her home in the ancient city of York, England, to walk to work. She never arrived. No body, no witnesses, no answers. 15 years later, Claudia Lawrence's disappearance remains one of Britain's most haunting unsolved mysteries. Before we uncover the truth about what happened to Claudia Lawrence, make sure to subscribe to The Secret Crime and ring that notification bell so you never miss a chilling case like this one. Drop a comment below and tell us where you're watching from, and if there's a true crime case you'd like us to cover next. We love hearing from our community of mystery seekers. Now, let's dive into a disappearance that has baffled investigators for over a decade. York, England, a city steeped in history, with cobblestone streets and medieval walls that whisper tales of the past. But in March 2009, this quiet, picturesque city became the center of a modern mystery that continues to haunt detectives, journalists, and the public to this day. Claudia Lawrence was a chef at the University of York. She was independent, sociable, and loved by her friends and family. She lived alone in a small terraced house on Heworth Road, just a short walk from her workplace. Her life seemed ordinary, routine, safe. But on March 18, 2009, Claudia finished her shift at work, returned home, and was never seen again. There was no sign of a struggle, no forced entry, no ransom demands. She simply vanished into thin air, leaving behind a city gripped by fear and a family desperate for answers. This is the story of Claudia Lawrence, a story of secrets, suspicion, and a mystery that refuses to be solved. March 18, 2009 was a Wednesday. Claudia worked the early shift at the university's Goodricke College kitchen. She clocked out around 3 p.m. and sent a text message to a friend shortly afterward. She seemed in good spirits. Nothing was out of the ordinary. That evening, Claudia returned to her modest home on Heworth Road. Neighbors later reported seeing lights on in her house. Her car was parked outside. Everything seemed normal. At 8:23 p.m., Claudia received a phone call. The call lasted just over a minute. Investigators later traced this call, but the details have never been publicly revealed. This was the last confirmed contact anyone had with her. The next morning, March 19th, Claudia was scheduled to start work at 6 a.m. Her colleagues expected her to arrive as usual. But when the clock struck 6, Claudia was nowhere to be found. Her supervisors tried calling her. No answer. By mid-morning, concern turned to alarm. Claudia was punctual, reliable. She would never miss work without a call or explanation. By 2 p.m. that day, her father, Peter Lawrence, received a call from the university. Claudia hadn't shown up for her shift. She wasn't answering her phone. Something was wrong. Peter immediately drove to her house. What he found there would chill him to the bone. When Peter Lawrence entered his daughter's home, everything appeared disturbingly normal. Her purse was on the kitchen counter. Her chef's uniform was laid out, ready for work. Her bed was made. There were no signs of a struggle, no broken windows, no forced entry. But Claudia was gone. Her phone was missing. So were her keys. But her car remained parked outside, untouched. If she had left the house, she had done so on foot. Peter immediately contacted the police. Within hours, officers arrived at Heworth Road to begin their investigation. What they discovered in those first crucial hours would set the tone for one of the most complex missing persons cases in British history. North Yorkshire Police launched an immediate search. Officers combed through Claudia's neighborhood, knocking on doors, questioning neighbors, checking CCTV footage from nearby streets. But York, despite being a city, had limited surveillance cameras in residential areas. The route Claudia would have taken to work was not well covered. There were gaps, blind spots, and in those blind spots, Claudia had vanished. Detectives examined her phone records. They found something strange. In the days leading up to her disappearance, Claudia had made and received dozens of calls and text messages. Some were to friends, some were to colleagues, but several calls stood out. Claudia had been in contact with multiple men in the weeks before she disappeared. Some of these men were married. Some had denied knowing her well, and some had lied to police about the nature of their relationships with her. This revelation shifted the investigation. Claudia's disappearance was no longer being treated as a simple missing persons case. Detectives began to suspect something far darker. As investigators dug deeper into Claudia's life, a more complicated picture emerged. Claudia was single, but she had been involved in several relationships, some of which were casual, some more serious. Friends described her as independent and private. She didn't share every detail of her personal life, even with those closest to her. But phone records revealed a web of connections that police had to untangle. Several men came forward for questioning. Some admitted to having relationships with Claudia. Others were less forthcoming. Detectives noted inconsistencies in their statements. Timelines didn't match. Alibis were vague. Police eventually identified several persons of interest, but no arrests were made. Without a body, without evidence of a crime, the investigation stalled. Suspicion fell heavily on those closest to her social circle. But suspicion is not evidence, and without concrete proof, detectives could only watch and wait. Over the following months, North Yorkshire police conducted extensive searches. They scoured fields, rivers, woodland areas, and abandoned buildings. Divers searched the river Foss. Cadaver dogs were brought in. Helicopters flew overhead. Volunteers joined the effort. Hundreds of people combed through rural areas surrounding York, hoping to find any trace of Claudia. Her father, Peter Lawrence, became a tireless campaigner, appearing on television, distributing flyers, and pleading for information. But every search came up empty. No body, no clothing, no evidence. In 2013, police dug up the back garden of a house in York, acting on a tip. They found nothing. In 2014, they searched gravel pits near the city. Again, nothing. The searches continued for years, but Claudia remained missing. If this mystery is giving you chills, hit that like button and let us know in the comments what you think happened to Claudia. Share this video with someone who loves true crime mysteries. Every share helps us bring more forgotten cases to light. Now let's discover what happens next in this chilling investigation. One of the most disturbing aspects of Claudia's disappearance involves her mobile phone. After she vanished, her phone remained active for several hours. It received calls and text messages throughout the morning of March 19th. Friends and colleagues tried reaching her. The phone rang, but no one answered. Then, at some point that morning, the phone was turned off, or the battery died. It has never been found. Investigators traced the phone's last known location to the area around Heworth Road, near Claudia's home. But the signal wasn't precise enough to pinpoint an exact location. Whoever had Claudia's phone that morning knew she was missing. They knew people were looking for her, and they chose not to answer. Remember that phone call Claudia received at 8:23 p.m. on March 18th? The last confirmed contact she ever had? Police identified the caller, but they have never publicly revealed who it was or what was discussed. This secrecy has fueled endless speculation. Was it someone she knew? A friend, a lover, or someone with darker intentions? Detectives have stated that the call is significant to the investigation, but after 15 years, the public still doesn't know the truth. In the years following Claudia's disappearance, several individuals were arrested on suspicion of murder. In 2014, 4 men were questioned and released without charge. In 2018, the investigation was reclassified as a murder inquiry, though no body had been found. Detective Superintendent Wayne Fox, who led the case for years, stated publicly that he believed Claudia had been murdered. He also stated that he believed people in York knew what had happened to her but were refusing to come forward. "Someone knows what happened to Claudia," Fox said in a 2017 interview, "and they are choosing to stay silent." This theory is chilling. It suggests that somewhere in the historic streets of York, people are walking around with the knowledge of what happened that March morning, and they have said nothing. Peter Lawrence became the face of his daughter's case. For over a decade, he campaigned tirelessly for answers. He lobbied for changes to the law, advocating for the families of missing persons. He spoke at press conferences, gave interviews, and never stopped searching for Claudia. In 2017, the UK government introduced Claudia's law, officially known as the Guardianship Missing Persons Act. This law allows families of missing persons to manage their loved ones' financial affairs without having to wait years for a death certificate. It was a small victory in an ocean of grief, but Peter never gave up hope. Tragically, in February 2021, Peter Lawrence passed away at the age of 74. He died without ever knowing what happened to his daughter. His death sent shockwaves through the true crime community. For many, Peter had been a symbol of resilience and hope. His passing marked the end of an era in the search for Claudia. But the case did not die with him. In 2024, 15 years after Claudia's disappearance, North Yorkshire Police announced that the investigation remains active. They continue to receive tips and follow up on leads. Advanced forensic techniques, including DNA analysis and digital forensics, are being applied to evidence collected over the years. Cold case detectives are reviewing thousands of documents, phone records, and witness statements. But still, there are no arrests. No body, no closure. Claudia's mother, Joan Lawrence, continues to hold on to hope. In interviews, she has said that she believes Claudia is still out there, somewhere, waiting to be found. But as the years pass, that hope becomes harder to hold. What makes Claudia's case so deeply unsettling is the possibility that people know what happened and have chosen to say nothing. Detectives believe that Claudia was murdered shortly after she was last seen. They believe her body was disposed of in a way that has prevented discovery, and they believe that more than one person was involved. This theory suggests a conspiracy of silence, a pact among individuals to protect a secret, to bury the truth along with Claudia. Imagine living in a city where someone, maybe a neighbor, a coworker, a friend, knows what happened to a missing woman and has said nothing for 15 years. Imagine passing that person on the street, unaware of the dark knowledge they carry. It's a chilling thought, and it's one that has haunted York ever since Claudia disappeared. 15 years have passed since Claudia Lawrence walked out of her home on Heworth Road and vanished into the cold March morning. Her phone has never been found. Her body has never been recovered. No one has been charged with her murder. The ancient city of York, with its centuries of history and ghost stories, now holds one more mystery. A modern ghost. A woman who disappeared without a trace, leaving behind only questions. Was Claudia the victim of someone she knew? Was she lured away under false pretenses? Or did she encounter danger on that short walk to work? We may never know, but somewhere, someone knows what happened. And until they speak, Claudia's case will remain one of Britain's most haunting unsolved mysteries. What do you think really happened to Claudia Lawrence? Do you believe someone in York is keeping a deadly secret? Let us know your theories in the comments below. And if you want more chilling unsolved mysteries like this one, make sure to subscribe to The Secret Crime and turn on notifications. We cover the cases that refuse to be forgotten. Until next time, stay curious, stay safe, and remember, sometimes the most terrifying mysteries are the ones that never get solved.